Number 5. When Amy Kay Hagen's ex-boyfriend started seeing another woman, she couldn't accept it. The 32-year-old's anger, jealousy, and hatred were clear. She began stalking her love rival, 28-year-old Bronson Hader, the new partner of her ex-boyfriend. Kay Hagen would wait, recording, hiding in the bushes, filming Hader leave for work. She would follow her and photograph her. One time, she broke into her house and took images of the contents of her fridge and entered her bedroom and took a photo of her bed. She watched and stalked Hader extensively, soaking up every detail: what she wore, where she went, when she got her mail. Kay Hagen learned everything she could about her. The stalking went on for months. And then finally, she planned to kill her. In one of her chilling surveillance work videos, Kay Hagen stakes out Hader's house, noting to herself what time Hader leaves and what she is wearing. As she walks up Hader's driveway, she is heard muttering to herself,
"I really don't want him to have a Valentine. That's really cruel of me, I know. But I still love him, which is really stupid of me."
In one video, she was standing outside Bronson Hader's house. She watches her leave for work and says,
7:28 via the iPad, and she's leaving for work. She is dressed, making sure her front door is locked, checking for mail.
In a later video, Kay Hagen says to herself,
Thursday night, I'm assuming is when I want to do it.
On the evening of April 20th, 2015, Kay Hagen broke into Hader's home and lay in wait before striking her on the back of the head with a hammer and pushing her to the ground. When Hader was on the ground, she continued the hammer attack, a total of 10 blows before trying to strangle her with a scarf, blocking her nose with her fingers, and then attempted to suffocate her with a plastic bag. Fortunately, Hader managed to escape when Kay Hagen became distracted by a phone ringing, fleeing to a neighbor's house. Kay Hagen was arrested, and police found she had armed herself with a knife, hammer, set of keys, and a locksmith's toolkit. Police also found a disturbing list in her possession showed a plan to kill Hader. The first line read, "Kill Bronson, bitch deserves it," and had the words hammer, cuff, and suffocate on it. Another photo was taken of a list found at her home, which had details of how she would either kill or knock out Hader. In 2016, Kay Hagen is sentenced to 12 years in prison for the attempted murder of Bronson Hader. Number 4. When Kristen Pratt opened the message on Facebook from a college classmate, she thought it was innocent enough. Little did she know that Patrick MacLeod was actually a deranged cyberstalker who would spend months turning her life into a living hell. MacLeod sent her a friend request on Facebook and initially claimed that he wanted to catch up with her. But on the turn of a dime, his communication with her became sinister. He began messaging Pratt incessantly, and the content of the messages became weird. Eventually, he posted 27 videos on YouTube and threatened her life on Twitter. Pratt became aware of the videos through her friends because he was contacting all of them via Facebook to ask him to tell her about the videos. MacLeod claimed that he was in love with her, that he wanted to be with her, and wanted her to have his babies. The problem became so bad that Pratt actually took out an injunction against him, but he ignored it and continued to harass her.
"I've been sent on a mission to make Kristen Pratt feel warm and fuzzy."
Police didn't consider him a serious threat. The cyberstalking intensified, and MacLeod's messages started to contain veiled threats against her. Some messages contained perverted sexual fantasies involving bondage and other things of that nature. Eventually, MacLeod's threats of violence and desire to hurt Pratt became more overt.
"You don't want me for life, Kristen Pratt?" That's a very, very unwise decision.
He began showing up at Pratt's work and at the college campus where she attended classes. Becoming afraid for her life, she started to alter her appearance, which ultimately did little to hinder MacLeod's stalking. Then in 2012, a police officer spotted MacLeod with a backpack acting suspiciously. The police thought there could be some stolen items inside his backpack, but instead, he found MacLeod's camera. The camera contained a number of unreleased videos where he angrily rants at Pratt and was planning to kill her.
Anyone who stands in my way will be guilty of treason.
The police officer even found a video of MacLeod crawling outside Pratt's workplace and instantly presented the case to the state attorney. MacLeod was arrested and formally convicted of cyberstalking and attempted murder. He was sentenced to 4 years in prison. He served just half of that and was released. His probation ended in June 2015. Number 3. On May 28, 2019, one woman was walking back to her home in Sillamdong, Seoul, when a suspicious man followed just meters behind her. He apparently tried to disguise himself as just another pedestrian, but CCTV footage shows that the woman turned her head around a few times, indicating that she actually noticed the man following her. She continued walking nevertheless and made it to her apartment. However, as she steps out of the elevator and taps on a keypad lock to enter her apartment, CCTV footage from another camera shows the man was still right behind her, waiting for the right moment to pounce on her. As the door is about to shut behind her, the man steps out of the still open elevator and extends his arms toward the door, a second too late. Agitated, he paces around the locked door, pushing at the door handle and keypad, testing to see if he could open the door. He even tried to knock on the door. In the extended version of the video footage, later released by local broadcasters, the man loiters in front of the door for 10 minutes. He even shines his cell phone flashlight at the keypad in the dark, trying to make out the woman's fingerprints. According to the Korea Herald, the suspect, a 30-year-old man surnamed Cho, turned himself in the following day after police investigations began. Police said Cho threatened the woman, saying he would force the door open if she did not let him in. According to the police, he pressed a higher number in the elevator to trick the woman into thinking he was going to a different floor. Cho then denied all charges, saying he was drunk and does not remember anything. The police initially charged Cho with trespassing, but due to the public outrage on the incident, they retracted their initial charges and accused Cho of attempted rape, citing the Act on Special Cases for the punishment of his crimes. Number 2. It was the summer of 1991 in East Lampeter Township, Pennsylvania. Before the year was over, 4 teenagers from different circles would find themselves drawn into a deadly triangle that would end in the tragic death of a 16-year-old girl named Lori Sho. It all started when 19-year-old Lisa Michelle Lambert began having relationship problems with her boyfriend, Lawrence Butch Youngkin. The couple often has arguments and even used other people to make each other jealous. That particular summer, Lawrence dated Lori Sho. The couple dated twice during a 1-week relationship. According to Lori's mother, her daughter reported to her that Lawrence had date raped her in the back of his van on their last date. Lawrence Youngkin denies it. Shortly after his final date with Lori, Lisa and Lawrence got back together. When Lisa learned that Lawrence had dated Lori, she nearly went insane with jealousy. However, it wasn't the dating that had Lisa in an uproar. It was the idea that Lawrence had slept with another girl. These violent, jealous feelings grew into uncontrollable urges when Lisa learned she was pregnant with Lawrence's child. Lisa would then take her pent-up anger and fixate it on Lori by stalking her in public. Lisa would frequently harass Lori, taunting her with obscene phone calls and openly threatening her wherever she was in public. Lori's mother attempted to file assault charges against Lisa, but it did little to stop her. On the morning of Friday, December 20th, 1991, Lori Sho is found by her mother in their home. She had been stabbed numerous times. Later reports from investigators reveal Lori had suffered a 5-inch laceration to the throat, a stab wound that punctured a lung, a deep cut that penetrated her thigh to the pelvic bone, and another that grazed her spine. She also had sustained several wounds to the head and numerous defensive wounds. Lori's mother, Hazel, had left home to speak to a guidance counselor at her daughter's school at 7 a.m. It was later revealed that the appointment to see the counselor was a ruse perpetrated by the killers. When she returned home, she found her daughter clinging to life. She said Lori identified her killer as Lisa Michelle Lambert, allegedly telling her Michelle did it. Police arrested Lisa, Lawrence, and Lisa's friend, 17-year-old Tabitha Buck, at a local bowling alley later that day for the murder of Lori. Initially, testimonies from the three showed that Lawrence had dropped Lisa and Tabitha off at Lori's house, where the two girls murdered Lori. Lawrence claimed that he had not participated in the murder. He told police that while he was under the impression that Lisa and Tabitha were going to cut Lori's hair with a knife as a prank, he did help provide an alibi and help to dispose of evidence. According to Tabitha Buck's admission, she said she knocked on Lori's door when she and Lisa arrived at the home, sat on Lori's legs, and prevented her from leaving the home, but said it was Lisa who killed her. Tabitha said she watched as Lisa drew the knife across Lori's throat as though she were cutting a loaf of bread. Lisa was convicted on July 20th, 1992, for the charges of first-degree murder and criminal conspiracy in the death of Lori. Tabitha was also convicted for similar charges. Lisa and Tabitha were both given life sentences, while Lawrence received a lesser sentence for testifying against them. He was granted parole in 2003, and Tabitha Buck was granted parole on December 21st, 2019. Number 1. Beautiful, talented, and kind, 23-year-old Molly McLaren was loved by everyone who knew her. A home bird who was extremely close to her parents and with a tight-knit circle of friends, Molly was on course to gain a top degree. The only thing missing from Molly's life was a boyfriend, so she turned to online dating to meet her perfect partner. Then, in the summer of 2016, she matched with 25-year-old Joshua Stimpson on the dating app Tinder. The pair messaged each other for 3 months before finally meeting. According to Molly's friend, it was Molly's first proper boyfriend. Stimpson, a warehouse worker, was soon spending most of his free time with Molly at her family home. But as the months wore on and Molly and Stimpson's relationship evolved, those closest to her started to notice a change. Molly's father said, it seemed as though he didn't have any friends and was a bit of a loner. He just wanted her to himself and wasn't interested in making new friends or even dealing with Molly's friends. Molly, a dedicated student, was also feeling overwhelmed with how much time Stimpson wanted to spend with her. Stimpson would just turn up uninvited when she wanted to have some time on her own to study. He would come and lie on her bed so he knew where she was and what she was doing. Stimpson even quit his job in a warehouse so he could spend even more time with Molly during her summer break. Eventually, on June 17, 2017, she ended their 7-month relationship, telling friends that she felt she was constantly treading on eggshells around him. He couldn't accept her decision and bombarded her with messages, but Molly remained firm and wouldn't get back together with him. Stimpson then started a campaign of abuse on social media. He created posts claiming Molly was a drug addict who used cocaine and tagged her parents in them. The abuse carried on for days, and Molly was becoming increasingly scared, so with the encouragement of her parents, decided to go to the police. Officers checked their files, and Stimpson had no record, so police told Molly and her friends and family to block him on social media and to report any further abuse. Just days later, Molly posted that she was going out for dinner with friends on Snapchat, thinking Stimpson couldn't see it as she had blocked him. But while she was with her pals in the restaurant, he turned up. Molly put it down to simple coincidence but felt so uncomfortable she came home early. The following morning, she went to the gym to fit in some practice for her course. As she started her workout, she was horrified when Stimpson walked into the same gym and started training close to her. Chilling CCTV shows her approach him before sending a terrified text to her friend, telling her he was there. It turned out Stimpson was using another woman to keep track of Molly's social media so he could stalk her. Terrified, Molly abandoned her workout and waited until she had seen Stimpson leave before making her way to her car. She sent another text to Amy, the last she would ever send, saying, "I feel like I'm looking over my shoulder all the time." As she got into her car, Stimpson launched his brutally violent attack at just after 11 a.m. on June 29th. He stabbed his ex-girlfriend 75 times and was arrested at the scene where his first words were, "She's in the car, I've killed her." During the trial, Stimson denied murder and pleaded guilty to manslaughter. He claimed diminished responsibility and insisted he could remember nothing about the attack. He also argued that his mother leaving the family when he was a teenager had left him with a pathological fear of abandonment. The problem with that claim was that his actions were clearly planned. He went shopping for the weapons he used to kill her before the attack. Joshua Stimson was found guilty of murder. He was sentenced to at least 26 years in prison.